Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded room, perhaps at a party or a busy social gathering, and feeling invisible. Laughter and conversation swirl around you, yet you feel a hollow ache of isolation. You force a smile and make small talk, all the while wondering, why do I feel so alone right now? This paradoxical feeling of being lonely around people is more common than you might think. In today's video, we'll explore the psychology behind why some of us actually feel more alone in a crowd. From the difference between peaceful solitude and painful loneliness, to the mind's tricks like the spotlight effect and pluralistic ignorance, to the roles of authenticity and neurodiversity, we'll uncover what's really happening when you feel unknown, even among friends. It's an eye-opening journey into the subtle mechanics of social disconnection, and by the end, you might view your own feelings of loneliness in a new light. First, let's clarify a crucial point. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. Solitude and loneliness might involve the same physical state, being by yourself or not in close connection, but psychologically, they are worlds apart. Solitude is usually chosen. It's the quiet time you seek out, maybe to recharge or reflect. Think of reading a book at home on a Sunday or taking a solo walk in nature. You're alone, but you feel peaceful, even fulfilled. This kind of alone time can be restorative and empowering. In contrast, loneliness is an ache of disconnection. It's the pain that comes when you feel isolated against your will. You could have dozens of contacts in your phone and a calendar full of social events, yet still feel that no one truly knows you or that you have no one to turn to in a moment of crisis. Loneliness is unchosen, a feeling of being unseen or uncared for, even if you're technically surrounded by people. It's important to know which one you're in. If you want to be by yourself, that's solitude, and it can be healthy. But if you're surrounded by people and still experience that hollow sadness, that's loneliness talking. And loneliness isn't about numbers. You can feel intensely lonely with a crowd around you, and conversely, you might feel content and connected just being by yourself if you feel at peace internally. Recognizing this difference is the first step. It tells us that loneliness is more about quality of connection than quantity. You can have a room full of acquaintances, but if none of those interactions feel meaningful or authentic, loneliness can creep in. Why would someone feel more alone when they're with others? Shouldn't being around people automatically cure loneliness? In theory, social time should satisfy our need for connection, but the reality is more nuanced. Often, being in a crowd when you feel disconnected only amplifies that disconnection. It's like being thirsty in the ocean. Water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Seeing others laugh, chat, and bond can highlight what you feel you're missing. If you're struggling internally, watching a group of friends having fun might make you feel even more isolated by comparison. There's also an element of contrast at play. When you're alone by choice, you expect to be by yourself. There's no contrast, no one to feel separated from. But if you're alone in a group, the contrast between you and them is stark. You might be thinking, everyone else here seems so connected. What's wrong with me? That thought can be devastating and make the loneliness even sharper. In a way, other people become a mirror for our loneliness. Their camaraderie reflects back our own sense of not belonging. Psychologically, humans have a deep need to belong and be understood. When that need isn't met, even if you're in a bustling crowd, The loneliness that results can feel even worse than when you're by yourself. It's as if being around others reminds you of what you could have: connection, understanding, friendship, but don't currently feel. This is the paradox of the lonely crowd. Proximity without intimacy. It tells us something important, that just being near people isn't enough. We need to feel truly connected to not feel lonely. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everybody's eyes were on you, noticing your every move or flaw? That intense self-consciousness is known as the spotlight effect. Our tendency to overestimate how much people notice and judge us. It's a classic cognitive bias that can fuel loneliness in social settings. If you're at a gathering and you feel awkward, you might assume everyone can see your awkwardness, almost like a literal spotlight is on you, highlighting your insecurities. In reality, most people are wrapped up in their own thoughts and insecurities and likely barely notice that pimple you're so worried about, or that one stumble in your words. But when you believe you're under a microscope, you become even more anxious and withdrawn, which makes genuine connection really hard. For people prone to social anxiety, the spotlight effect can be especially strong. You might be convinced that your trembling hands or the fact you're standing alone is glaringly obvious to everyone and that they're judging you for it. This feeling is not only stressful, it also prevents you from engaging naturally. Instead of joining a conversation, you might stay at the edge, head down, trying not to draw attention. Ironically, you think you're protecting yourself, but you're also cutting off chances to actually feel included. The result? You remain alone with your anxious thoughts, even as people buzz around you. The key insight here: most of the time, people are not scrutinizing you as closely as you fear. Realizing this can be liberating. Next time you feel that burning, self-conscious spotlight, remind yourself that it's likely an illusion of your mind. Everyone else is likely worried about themselves, not you. Freeing yourself from the imaginary spotlight can make it easier to relax and engage. And when you do, you'll find it easier to break that loneliness in the crowd. Another mind trick that can make you feel alone in a group is something social psychologists call pluralistic ignorance. Despite the fancy term, the concept is pretty relatable. It means everyone is looking around, thinking they're the only one who feels the way they do, when in fact many people share that feeling. In social situations, this often happens with uncertainty or discomfort. Imagine you're at a networking event or even a casual hangout and you're craving a deeper conversation or feeling a bit anxious. You look around, everyone else seems relaxed, laughing, fitting in effortlessly. So you think, I'm the odd one out here. Better not show it or I'll look weird. So you plaster on a smile and talk about the weather or the latest TV show, keeping it surface level, even though inside you're yearning for something more meaningful. Now here's the kicker: it's very possible a lot of those other people are doing the exact same thing. Maybe half the people at that event also feel a bit awkward or would also love to drop the small talk and have a real heart-to-heart. But everyone is playing it cool because each person thinks they're the only one who isn't totally loving the shallow chatter. When everyone conforms to this imagined norm, no one breaks the ice to form a deeper connection. So all of them remain lonely in that crowd, each thinking it's their own personal issue. It's a collective mirage where everyone privately feels alone, but believes they are alone in feeling that way. This dynamic keeps relationships superficial. Pluralistic ignorance can stop us from saying, hey, sometimes I get lonely in big groups, do you? Or from asking a more meaningful question, because we assume it wouldn't be welcomed. The result is a room full of people who might all be feeling isolated together. It's almost darkly funny, isn't it? The cure here is a bit of courage, realizing that you are likely not the only one with those deeper feelings. Taking a small social risk, like steering a conversation to a more personal topic, or admitting, I always feel a bit awkward at these parties. How about you? Can shatter the illusion. Often you'll find relief in the other person's eyes. Oh, thank goodness, me too. Suddenly that lonely feeling diminishes for both of you. Have you ever felt like you were wearing a mask around other people, pretending to be happier, more confident, or more interested than you actually felt? Many of us wear these social masks, often to fit in or avoid burdening others with our problems. It might seem like the polite or necessary thing to do, but constantly masking your true feelings can severely deepen that sense of loneliness. Why? Because if you're never truly yourself around others, then no matter how many people are around, no one is actually interacting with the real you. They're interacting with the persona you are projecting. And here's a profound truth. Being loved or accepted for your mask still feels lonely because deep down you know they don't really know you. Think of the friend who's always the joker, cracking jokes and never showing any sadness. Inside, they might feel that no one sees their pain, so they remain lonely. Or the colleague who always plays the role of the cheerful helper, afraid to ever say they're overwhelmed. They might be surrounded by people who like them, but since it's based on a one-dimensional facade, it doesn't truly touch their heart. Emotional masking, smiling when you're sad, acting confident when you're anxious, can become a habit that leaves you feeling like an outsider to your own social life. Feeling alone in a crowd is a profoundly human experience. If you've ever felt that way, remember that you are far from the only one. Ironically, many people feel the same hidden loneliness even as they smile and mingle. Today, we explored how the difference between solitude and loneliness lies in choice and connection, how our minds can mislead us with perceived rejection or cognitive biases, how wearing emotional masks and sticking to shallow roles can keep us disconnected, and how factors like neurodivergence or anxiety can add extra hurdles. The common thread is the longing to be truly seen, heard, and understood. The good news is that understanding these psychological mechanisms is like being handed a key. You can start to notice, I'm assuming everyone is judging me. Maybe that's the spotlight effect talking. Or I'm keeping it superficial, but perhaps others would enjoy a deeper chat too. These realizations can inspire small but meaningful changes. Maybe you'll take the initiative to reach out to someone else who looks a bit alone. Maybe you'll risk a little vulnerability in your next conversation, or challenge a negative thought by reminding yourself that you're likely not actually being rejected. Even something as simple as making eye contact and greeting someone sincerely can crack the ice. Ultimately, overcoming the lonely in a crowd feeling doesn't mean becoming the most extroverted social butterfly. It means seeking authentic moments of connection, quality over quantity. That could be one honest conversation where you admit you're struggling and the other person says, me too. It could be finding a group of people who share your passion or quirky hobby where you instantly click. It could be learning to be kinder to yourself in social situations, giving yourself permission to be different or quiet without judging yourself for it. As we wrap up, here's a gentle challenge or reflection for you. Next time you're in a crowd and that lonely feeling hits, try to identify what's behind it. Is it that you're hiding your true feelings, that you assume others wouldn't relate, that you're physically there but mentally elsewhere due to anxiety? Once you spot it, consider one small step to change the script. Maybe talk to one person about something real, or simply tell yourself that others likely feel the same way sometimes. You might be surprised how that one step can turn a disheartening experience into a more connected one. Remember, the goal isn't to never feel lonely. We all do at times. The goal is to understand why and to know that there are pathways out of that isolating feeling. By learning about the psychology behind loneliness in a crowd, we can replace self-blame or hopelessness with insight and action. You deserve to feel connected and known, and it can happen even in the unlikeliest of places. Sometimes it starts with you bravely extending a hand, literally or metaphorically, and finding that someone else is more than ready to take it. Thank you for watching and reflecting with me. If this topic resonated with you, I invite you to take a moment after this video to reach out to someone. Maybe send a genuine text to a friend or strike up a conversation with that coworker you sense might appreciate it. A small act of connection can brighten both your day and theirs. After all, we're all in this human experience together, and none of us should have to feel alone in the crowd.